296th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni. And am I allowed to take a bow for what I showed you guys this week or what?
Yeah,
Since Sunday night, came out with analysis on Sunday night, right?
Amazing.
And my video titles all week were Do Not Panic Out of the Stock Market. Wall Street support is coming soon. How do I know? I grew up there. I know what to look for. And that's what I told you guys on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday. Look where we are now. How fantastic was that, huh? Come on now. You find another analyst as talented as me. No way you're going to be able to do that. But you're only as good as your last call, right? So now we got to move forward. Trading is risky. Put your stops in, put them in first. Never trade without them. Boy, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about on this board. April 10th is what this video is made for trading on April 10th, which is Thursday. Video 2896. And all week long, I've been trying to keep you prepared for some things. And we've got a lot of topics on the board. So we're going to get to those topics. So, 3 top questions I have received. And like crazy this week. 1, is the bottom in, Oscar? 2, what about China and T-bonds? Scary. 3, is your year-end call still valid? Is my year-end call still valid? So I need to answer those questions in this video because those were the most questions, what it looked like the most nervousness written to me. So I thought I'd prepare a bunch of charts. And in this video, we will answer these 3 questions. Is the bottom in? What about China and the bonds? Is my year-end call for 75.12 remaining valid? Well, traders, you want to hear something insane about that? I'm calling this an omen. I've got a year-end call for 75.12. I did the analysis several times because I couldn't believe it kept coming out to that number. Why? Because that's the badge I wore since I'm a 21-year-old kid on the exchange, right? 75.12. That's the number I get for some crazy reason where the ES is going to go year-end Omni call. And what else happens that makes this an omen? Is the year-end call valid? Well, check this out. You know, we give out Omni trading recommendations every day, 24 hours a day. We shoot them out to you via Discord through, in the chat room. I let you know that there's a flash posted. You get an email, you get a Discord, you get a flash pop-up. We make sure that the only way you miss these trades is if you stuck your head in the sand. So we send out these Omni trade recommendations, which of course you can join. And in the month of Jan, Omni would have made about $10,000 if you followed all the trades correctly. Omni would have made $19,000 in Feb, but here's the really important one. In March, the Omni, now this is being calculated by 2 separate entities, right? They don't know, they're not working with each other. They calculate separately. If their numbers match, they come to me and I tell you what the month-end total is. The month-end total for March is 75.12.50. $7,512.50 you could have made in March, which is this number, which is the year-end target, which should be on the board over there somewhere. And traders, that's insanity, isn't it? So I have to say, to this question, is my year-end target valid? It's more valid now than ever. Thank you to that omen. All right. Is the bottom in? What about China and bonds? Is the bottom in? Well, the video titles all week were Do Not Panic Out of the Stocks. Wall Street support is coming soon. How do I know? I grew up there. I know what to look for. I told you guys that on Sunday before this all started. What else? B. So, biggest question, is the bottom in? Video titles told you, do not panic out. And we would get support. B. Large daily bars with extreme volatility usually accompany market tops and market bottoms. What do we have? We absolutely had support come in. It worked. We have absolute huge bars right now with grand volatility. Credit to Mr. Michael King, one of my mentors who taught me way back in the 80s, the 1980s. Every now and then, Oscar, you've got to go look for the Gann 4-legged bottom. Actually, they call it the 4-legged bottom. The Gann 4-legged bottom is what they would always call it. And that is in place right now. So is the bottom in? Well, I can say this. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have charts. And charts say support held, large, extremely large bars, and extreme volatility hanging out next to each other. Usually accompanies tops and bottoms. We've got a Gann 4-leg bottom in place right now. So And the reason why we went down, beginning was we had a double top and Powell stopped lowering rates, right? And that turned off the music to the party. The party emptied out. We went into that bear flag. We went under the bear flag, and then Trump came out with tariff talk, and boom, we smashed down. Well, Trump came out today and said tariffs are off the table for everyone but China. That means the dark cloud is off the markets. That should be D, to be honest. Trump has removed the dark cloud. So I'm going to say, unless we have a smash down turnaround between now and Friday, I think the bottom is in. We had our test. I came out with the video yesterday and said expect the test. If it holds, expect Wall Street to come in. That has happened. Large bars, extreme volatility, four-legged bottom. Now, number 4 or D, we're not completely out of the woods yet. Technically, we've had a great rally, but there is still some reasoning to think that if we don't rally higher this week and very quickly, that there could be more downside, but not yet. We don't see that yet. What we see is that we've rallied smartly so far. We've got the four-legged bottom. We held support. We've got extreme bars. We'll only look towards that other thing if that starts to fail and we head back down. Then we'll revisit. So, just to reiterate, yes, 75.12 for some bizarre reason. The omen OMNI call is in. Yes, I think the bottom very well could be in, but we're not out of the woods completely. We need to complete this week, Thursday, Friday, by going up. We do not need a big swing back down again. So let's hope that stays in place. If we happen to swing back down, we'll talk about it. What else is on this board? China and T-bonds. Well, traders, China last night tried to sell as many bonds as they could in hopes that they could make our interest rates rally up so high that it breaks America. Like some stupid plan. Here's what makes it stupid. The amount of bonds they own is literally a pimple on the ass of our bond market. You know what I mean? So they sold it for a day. It went down a little bit. It came right back up 5 handles today. That was a mistake. You can't have a fight with America if you own this much of their bond market. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna work. So that didn't work, and I'll show you the charts to prove that. So don't worry about that as well. Problem is, if China sold all their bonds until they had no more, our bond market would outlast China's selling anyway. We're much bigger than China's hold on our bonds. In fact, back in 2008-9, there was so much talk about how, oh my God, China owns America. They own all our bonds. They own America. At the peak of the most China's ever owned of our debt in our history during 2008-9, you know how much they owned? 12.9%. That was the max. They own less than that now. Don't worry about that. That isn't a tactic that's going to work. China realizes that ain't going anywhere. So don't sweat that one. And now I'd like to show you some charts to clean up this whole board and explain everything that I've been speaking about. But traders, if you like the calls that you've seen, if you like the magic that I can produce, why don't you stop trading alone? Why don't you come to one of my OMNI camps and allow me to teach you how to make calls on these charts like I make them? Believe me, it's possible. You should see what the other OMNIacs say when they come to camp. In fact, David, is there a way that you could show a little scene? All right, so if you don't mind, before we go any further, check out what the other OMNI campers have said. If you want to come to my OMNI camp, check this out. I'm going to give you guys a choice. It's either going to happen in the U.S., in the United States, or it's going to happen in Europe. I'm allowing my OMNIacs from Europe and the U.S. to tell me where the next OMNI camp will be held. I'll come to you. We get enough OMNIacs in Europe, or you come to me and we'll do it here in Vegas. Now, it's going to be right at the end of May, the beginning of June, before it gets too hot in Las Vegas. If you want to learn from me, you'll be with me for 4 days and nights. Where? In my home office. This is as real as it gets. If you want to learn from me, fill out an OMNI application at omnibootcamp.com, but fill it out right away. You know why? I only accept 3 or 4. 6 is the most students I'll ever accept at once. And I don't usually fill the room with 6. I usually deny many, and only 3 or 4 actually come out. So make sure you fill out those applications. I will call you personally and qualify you for an OMNI camp seat. Don't forget, livewithoscar.com or easiest, omnibootcamp.com. Fill out those OMNI camp applications. Spend 4 days with me here in Las Vegas or in your town in Europe. Is there anything else on this board we need to talk about? Nope. Think we're good there. Traders, I want to take you to the chart segment now because these charts are fantastic, and let's go look at them. Please remember this before we look at the charts. take a look at this quick segment, see what these people have said about OMNICAMP, and I'll come right back to you.
I know 10% of the traders make money and 90% are losers. And I want to be by the 10%.
So seeing is believing, that's what most people believe. I'm more skeptical than that. Doing is believing, okay? I came here 3 days of training, and after 3 days, every prediction that I made was correct. It works. They don't say it works. I saw it work.
Traders, so you've seen that. I promise you'll be even more excited than that. Make sure you fill out those applications. Now, I'm going to take you to show you some charts, but I want you to do this exercise with me because believe me, it helps in times of turmoil like this. Say it with me. Are you ready, traders? You must know what it is by now. 1, 2, 3. Stops are in. Emotions are out. That's true, traders. Make sure you know that now. Let's go look at some charts. Okay, traders, E-mini S&P daily bar. Remember, stay calm, don't get out, don't panic out. And I showed you this chart on Sunday night before the markets opened. Did my homework all weekend. And I said, look where we are, traders. We're going to drop all the way down to somewhere between 49.75 and 47.75, where my big gun averages are, and the Wall Street support will come in. And remember, I said Wall Street is going to come in and support this. Why? Because I know what to look for. I mean, come on, I grew up there. I'm 60 now. I started there at 18. You know what I mean? I've got some time in this. I know what they're going to look for. So here's where we were. The big panic happened on Monday. If you remember, it was supposed to be big crash Monday, Black Monday. Oh, no. And I said, do not panic out. That is what happened, baby. Is that not sick? Now, look. It went right down to 48.32, and what did it do? It popped up 659 points. E-mini S&P. How about that? There is no better analysis than that on this planet, traders. Charts knew what Trump was going to say long before he said it. How did they know? I don't know. That's not my job. My job's to interpret them. They knew. Look where we are now. Okay, so E-mini S&P. So now we saw that the support held, right? The question was, Oscar's the bottom end. You see that that support so far held. We even had a test of the support, and it held, and we rallied out. Second thing, extreme volatility and huge daily bars accompany market tops and bottoms. These are extreme bars, extreme, with huge volatility. What else do we have here? The same thing in your NASDAQ. Huge bars, extreme volatility. So part one, support so far held. Part two, you need to see extreme volatility with huge bars to call it top or bottom. We have two pieces in place. What else is there? Russell 2000. Thank you, Mr. Mike King. Rest in soul, sir. You were a fantastic analyst and trader when you were on this planet. Love you to death, sir. He taught me when I was a kid, Oscar, you got to look for the four-legged Gann bottom. Every now and then it's going to come in. It's four extreme bars at the tops or bottoms. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what happened? We rallied out, just like he taught me in the 80s. What else? Transportation average, same thing. Gann four-leg bottom in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we rallied out. Now, if transportation average is rallying, it sees further movement of goods. It sees further sales of goods. It sees further need for more supplies. That's why the transportation average rallies. When it was going down, there were Trump tariff talks, right? It sees less supplies being moved, less transportation. Suddenly, boom. Tariffs get removed, it sees more transportation, so you can believe that one as well. Four-legged bottom, thank you again. Now we're going to take it to crude oil. Well, what else would help the market start to recover? Well, if we could somehow get crude down to 55, that would be amazing because we're trading at 77 and that would really help. So my call was for 55 and then down to 47.5. And you know there was nobody calling for the downside when I was back here, right? Well, here's where we were, and I mentioned it was going to be knock-knock time soon. This is what happened, kids. Come on. It hit 55.12. 55.12. We called for 55 when it was in the 80s, or 78, I should say. So, what's interesting is I had a guy in my trading room today said, Oscar, you were wrong. It didn't hit 55. And I guess he's right. It only went to 55.12. I couldn't argue with him, but we hit 55.12. So, Thomas, you were right. The call was not exact, but it was pretty damn close. And what's next? The 800-pound gorilla in the room. Traders, this is what China did with all the bonds they have on the damn planet. They did this and that and this. All right. Well, since then, we've come back up to here and here. This looks like a lot of damage on the 30-year bond market, doesn't it? Well, let's take a look. This is a weekly chart of the 30-year T-bond. That's all China was able to do. That's it. Meh. Nothing. They don't have it. Come on, they nothing but talk. There's no way they're powerful enough in their bond market holdings of our bonds to destroy ours, right? Our bond market would way outlast theirs. So, they're not big enough to hurt us in a meaningful way. The bond market would outlast China's selling even if they sold 100% of their holdings. Don't sweat it. I've been paying attention since I'm a kid in the 80s. What's next? Not least but last is Bitcoin. Yeah, baby. What's nice about this? Now, you know I've been showing you this unbelievably accurate average that Wall Street has just latched onto, which works really, really well on Bitcoin. And it's been trying to get above, and then it couldn't and fell back down 1, 2, 3 times. Well, we went down to a serious average like we did back here, the 200 bar. 1 day, 2 days, on the third day it exploded out, and guess where we are right now? Right back. Here we go again, right back at that average. This time, if we get above that average, I say we keep on going. Let's see where we end up. Remember, we're not 100% out of the woods, traders. I promise you that we're not completely away from possibly sellers coming back in even the S&P and NASDAQ. But as of this video, this moment in time, it sure does look pretty darn good out there. Traders, make sure you join me at livewithoscar.com. I'll be in my free live trading room. No credit cards are required. Go to livewithoscar.com, sign up, and join me there.